All right, Shalom, brothers and sisters.
Shalom.
Okay, this is the second class of the day. This is the steward class. All praises to Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. Okay, let's start off. I want to go into this topic. This topic is called the let's name it the militarization of the black community, the policing of the black community. Because what you see out there, a lot of brothers, they out there in the community, they out there in the streets, and when the police or DTs or what have you, when they roll up on them, they don't understand that they rolling up on them in a militarized fashion, you know, in the military type of mentality. Okay, they don't understand that because that's the vibration that we're living in today in most ghettos, where in all the ghettos are militarized. They rolling up on you in a military maneuvers, a military manner. And a lot of our brothers out there don't understand that. You understand? Okay, because a lot of the police officers, a lot of them are veterans from the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq and so forth, vets from other Vietnam wars and so forth, Vietnam and everything. So when they pull up on them, it confused them. And then they want to shoot out and so forth. It's too much ammo, man. Okay? It's too organized. So therefore our help comes from the Most High. So we can't get, I mean, we can get out there in a revolutionary type of organization, but the Most High, I mean, the Most High don't have it set up like that. In the scriptures say, wait ye upon me until I rise up. Okay, the scriptures say, for the determination is to gather the nation. And the scriptures say that the Most High is going to pour out his fierce anger upon the nation, because the battle belongs to the Most High. The battle belongs to Yahweh Shai. And any revolutionary or underground or whatever the case may be, they're going to lose in battle, man, because it was time for this country to rule. It's his time. The Most High set it up, and the Most High is going to bring it down. When you read in the scriptures, you had the Most High was setting up revolutionaries, but the spirit of the Most High was with them, like the Maccabees and so forth. Okay, that was rising up against the Greeks. You had a lot of our people rising up against the Romans, okay, but the Most High stepped back and caused a lot of the revolutionary groups to fall, the Zealots, the Sakari, and so forth. Okay, so let's read some reports. It reads, the police in America look like soldiers now, right? Because that old regular uniforms that they used to have, they went more into the military uniforms. Okay, you can see that when the police steps out, they have fatigues on with the gun strapped around the leg and so forth. Okay, that puts a certain vibration up on you. That puts a certain mentality in you, your dress code. Okay, and the weapons that you're carrying. Okay, especially if you roll in numbers. Okay, there's power in numbers. You remember growing up, you know, we out in the streets and so forth, and you go to certain neighborhoods and trying to convert them to be part of your clique. You roll over there with about 50, 100 deep, and if that neighborhood is not ready, okay, you're gonna roll over there deep, and you're gonna see the fear in them, and it's gonna put a whole different mentality in you, okay, because you going to this community, this neighborhood, converting them to be part of what you are. Until they get numbers and fight against that, you got them, okay? So numbers is power, and the dress code puts a whole different mindset on the individuals. If you just like you see the men dressing up like women, you see the vibration that they're rolling in, man.
Yeah.
Sodomitish vibration. You see the women, the dykes and so forth, dressing up like men, looking like men. And the vibration is so heavy on them, they begin to look like men. They begin to conduct themselves and carry themselves and act like men. Okay, so it's the uniform, the clothing that you wear, and the ammo that you have, and the training, it lets out a certain vibration and it puts you in a whole different mentality. And that's what the police are in today, a whole different military, where they're in a whole military mentality. Okay, because if you look at, when you see the police in riot gear, remember, you know, when the protesters are out there, they be in riot gear, they look like military soldiers, and they have military weapons.
Right.
So you can't tell if you put the military, the military police, the regular police, if you put them next to one another, you can't tell which one is the police, man, because they're dressing just like they're ready to campaign somewhere.
Right.
Okay. Now, in the 80s, the police, you know, like wore these uniforms, but now they dressing just like the military. And like I said before, the blacks in the ghetto, they don't understand these maneuvers that the police are doing, jumping out of their cars and so forth, doing military maneuvers and so forth. Now let's go back. President Ronald Reagan, he called for the military to work with the police during the war on drugs. Okay? And you had bills, certain bills was passed to give police military equipment and access to military bases, and for the National Guard to assist the police in drug operations for the military and the police to train together. You understand? And to loan the police department the military leftover equipment. So that's what they got. Remember, out in California, it was years ago, there was a robbery. And these guys that was part of that robbery, they had ammo to the teeth. They had vests on. You remember that?
I remember that.
It made the news. And they robbed this bank, I think it was a bank, and they had like a shootout, a war with the police. Police got killed and a lot of them got injured. So they determined then, hey man, we got to get the same type of weapons as what they call the criminals has. You understand? Because that made news. It was out in California. You remember that, right? Okay. Now, like I said, bills was paid to give the police military equipment and access to military bases, and for the National Guard to assist the police in drug operations, for the military and the police to train together, and to loan the police department the military leftover equipment. Now, what I'm saying, this is known as the 1033 program. Write this down. This is known as the 1033 program. When the police got assault rifles now, like M16, they got armored trucks. The 1033 program, the police look like occupying army now. Okay? And look, in 1998, police soon had assault rifles, AR-15s, and stronger weapons now. Okay, from this 1033 program. And also this 1033 program was what the SWAT team came out of. Okay, drug-related search warrants. You remember the SWAT team, right? Okay, when the SWAT team came out, then they started making movies about the SWAT team. It had even a TV show. It's the SWAT team. Okay, with that 1033 program, it also instituted the forced entry searches called no-knock warrants. Okay, there was a lot of people been killed by this program, the no-knock warrants. You remember, matter of fact, Breonna Taylor in Louisville.
That's right.
And there was a military veteran in Arizona. Police no-knock bust into his home, and he thinking that somebody's breaking into his home. There's somebody. He never known that it was the police. So they breaking in, moving around. He jumps up with his piece, with his weapon, and they shot him 160 times in 1 minute.
Wow.
A military veteran. So this is the no-knock warrants. Okay. Now, also this 1033 program, it expanded, and it dropped the requirement for equipment to be used for drug-related enforcement. Now any law enforcement have access to these weapons. You see them all in the subway,
Right.
posted up all on the side of the streets.
Right.
M16s, dressed in fatigues, looking like an occupying army. But they're police departments. The military and the police department, they have different purposes. The police department purpose is not like the military.
Right.
The
Right.
police department was set up to serve and protect the communities.
Con.
The military is to protect the country
Yeah.
from the enemies,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or invading forces,
Con.
okay? And the police is part of the people that the military is supposed to be protecting, okay? Now, there's a former police chief, I think he was out of New Haven, Connecticut. He said he was offered tanks, bazookas, anything that he wanted, but he said he turned it down because he understood, he said, it feeds a mindset that you're not a police officer serving a community, you're a soldier at war. See, when you got these types of weapons,
Right.
your mentality is like you in the military, your mentality is you a soldier, man.
Right. Right.
You're a soldier. If you ever been in the military, they training you for combat,
Right.
even in peacetime. Even in peacetime.
That's right.
Okay, when I was in the military, matter of fact, they trained us with the 45, you know, because I was Navy. And you had to learn how to break down the 45 and put it back together. You had to know every piece of the 45. You take it apart, you got to know the spring, every piece of it. Okay, but when you went out to sea on a ship, then at sea, you train on the M16. Okay, and then you was assigned, you know, like myself, I was assigned to a gun mount. It was called, I still remember, gun mount 33.
Wow.
I was first loader.
Wow.
You know, they passed me the bomb, I put it in, spin it, and look in the water's going up, the bomb has already hit. Okay, I was the first loader, gun mount 33. Okay, so the military training is way different. It is a whole different mindset than the police officers.
Right.
But they are putting the police officers in that mindset by the weapons that they're giving them and just not giving a damn. You know, out there just shooting people, killing them. Okay? Now, let's go into when the U.S. withdrew its troops from Iraq. The military had a lot of equipment. When they withdrew, they had a lot of equipment. Just like when they withdrew from Afghanistan recently, what did they do? They left the weapons over there.
Right.
Okay, you know, but I think that was part of the program, part of the decree anyway. Once they pull out, okay, leave those weapons. Okay, but when the U.S. withdrew its troops from Iraq, the military had a lot of equipment, and that equipment became available to the police departments under the 1033 program. See, that's why they got those artilleries now. Okay, and in 2014, the 1033 program became national news. Okay, it was all over the news. In where? Ferguson, Missouri. Remember that?
Right.
Yeah.
Michael Brown
Michael Brown.
killed.
Right.
And when the people was protesting, they was protesting, but they was met with what? Militarized police.
Right.
Some was pointing sniper rifles at the protesters, tear gas and armored tanks. Okay? So now the Pentagon armed police with M16s and Humvees. You see that? Okay? So that's why in this time and in these last days, our protection is the Most High.
Con.
Okay, because we are a nation in exile. We are a nation that's really not together. There is no unity
Right.
amongst the Hebrew Israelites.
Right.
Everybody's mindset is my congregation, my camp, this and that. It's not, they're not thinking nation.
Con.
Okay, the individualism. I'm the leader of such and such. I'm the leader of such and such. But it's only one leader,
Con.
and that's Yahushua under the Most High.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So when, I mean, time will tell in these last days. Time will tell, you know, who's hot and who's cold.
Con.
And time also will tell if you lukewarm too.
That's right.
Because it's gonna get very serious out here.
Right.
And the Most High gonna make us as a nation dependent on him.
Right.
Okay? Now, Obama, when Obama came into position, he kind of put, or he rather curbed the 1033 program in 2015. And then Trump in 2017 reversed his decision, brought it back.
Wow.
See, you understand? So, with all that equipment, it gives police or individuals, it gives them a certain mentality. Okay, out there in the streets, it gives you a certain mentality if you strap.
Right.
You all on the subway strapped, and you in a certain image, you in a certain mentality.
Right.
Okay, especially if you have no discipline. See, a lot of the police power, they just don't give a damn, a lot of them. Okay, because they know the community is in fear, scared, and don't understand certain things. Okay, they know that. So it makes them more aggressive and it makes them more violent by not giving a damn.
Right.
Okay. Now, the military clothing for the police officer changes their mentality and it changes their role. It changes their whole position. Like I said, it makes them more aggressive and it makes them more violent. So their position is not policing now. There was a video a few weeks ago where this was in D.C., where the police officers was arresting this brother. They had him all on the fence, beating him, airborne him. Have you seen that?
New body camera video being released tonight by D.C. police of an armed man seen in a viral cell phone video being punched by a D.C. police officer. Fox 5's Jacqueline Matter joining us now with the latest details. Jacqueline.
Marina, we're getting a new perspective of what shows a D.C. police officer punching Kamon Johnson several times in the face, while two others are seen holding him back. That incident all happened last Sunday in the 1500 block of U Street in Southeast. Watching this video, you can actually see right when officers pull up, they get out of the car and immediately head toward Johnson, who's seen trying to run off. Two officers grab him and are holding him back, and they kind of go back and forth, trying to resist and restrain within police and with Johnson. And that's when they get into that brawl with him, when an officer is seen punching him. That officer can be heard yelling, "Give up," over and over again. Finally, they are able to handcuff Johnson. The police department says Johnson was being arrested for conducting a drug deal. However, his attorneys deny a drug deal even happened. In that video, you can hear police say they're going to take Johnson's drugs. That's when Johnson is heard saying, quote, "That's my phone." The attorneys for Johnson say the assault by the officer fractured bones in his face and that he may need surgery.
We believe that this was just a first level tier encounter, police interaction, where Mr. Johnson had a right to walk away. And they use unlawful detention. It leads to unlawful use of force against Mr. Johnson. And that's why we're here today.
Police did recover a gun from Johnson. Fox 5 reached out to the mayor's office and MPD, but have not heard back yet. Now, the officers involved in that arrest were taken off patrol while an internal and criminal investigation does take place. Johnson's attorneys, say they are seeking reasonable compensation, but have not yet filed a lawsuit and say they will only do so if necessary. Back to you.
They're blowing them all in the face, man. So the people, you had some homeboys out there, so the homeboys and his people was like, "Hey, arrest him, arrest the man, stop beating the man." So they looking back and they kept elbowing him and beating the man, kneeing him. So the people started throwing garbage cans, raising hell, and started throwing garbage cans with trash, started throwing it at the police. And guess what the police did? They didn't turn around and start shooting. They stopped. They began to start policing and act like a police. So a lot of them backed off. I think it was two still on the brother. They went and searched him and they arrested him, but they ended up finding a gun. So what? Just arrest the man. You search him, you find the gun, take the gun. Cuff him up, take him to jail, man. But when the community start throwing those trash cans and yelling at the cops, throwing garbage cans and garbage at the cops said, whoa, they backed off. They start policing like they had since then.
Right.
Okay, and then when they called for backup, the backup came, the backup act right too. They didn't go off.
Right.
The backup started acting like police.
Right.
Okay, they wasn't acting like that old military mentality. They was acting like police then because the community started rising up.
Right.
All the people got to do is just rise up. Now, there would be a sacrifice. Remember in Jerusalem in 70 AD, and also during the Babylonian, when the Israelites was going into captivity. Okay, that was all the Most High's doing. But the Israelites fought to keep their land and fought to not to go into captivity.
Right.
They raised hell. Even in 70 AD, they raised hell. Even during the Crusades, to fight the Mohammedans to take the land of Jerusalem back. That's what the Crusades was about, to retain and get control of the Holy Land. Okay, Crusades means marks with the cross. So there was a lot of fighting. Some of the regular people was partaking and being part of the Crusades. And some of the Israelites, regular people, was fighting against the Roman occupation. Okay, and fighting against the Babylonian occupation. Okay, the people of the nation rose up. But when it's time to bring you down and when the Most High has it set up that you has to fall, I don't care how much fight you got in you, you're going to fall. That's why we're sitting here in this country today, because what we did, we broke the laws of the Most High.
Right.
But in the book of Ezekiel 25, the scripture said that when the Israelites, when their iniquity had an end, Edom kept whipping their behinds.
Right.
Okay, kept using this brutality against the Israelites, but their iniquity had an end.
Right.
Okay, we coming off that, coming away from that now.
Right.
Okay, now, in 1968, there was an act called Safe Street Act in 1968. It's to track down on organized crime and gun violence. This was instituted, I believe, by President Lyndon B. Johnson. This is 1968. And also the LEAA, which means the Law Enforcement Assistant Administration, was created. What it did, it guaranteed federal money to fight crime. This funded equipment for SWAT, the SWAT team, M79 grenade launchers. Okay? Now, the SWAT team was used, you know, when you see it on TV and you was watching these movies and the TV series, they was using what? Hostage situations.
Right.
And they was also used in robbery
Right.
situations.
Right.
And what does SWAT mean?
I really don't know what SWAT means.
Strategic weapons and tactics.
Okay, damn near.
When
It's special weapons and tactics.
Special weapons.
Special weapons and tactics. That's SWAT.
Yeah.
Okay, and the SWAT team, their first task as a militarized front came when the LAPD used a tank from the California National Guard. It was used on who? The Black Panthers.
Black Panther, yeah.
Back in 1969.
Wow.
You seen that documentary?
Wow,
Yeah. Okay. So they've been giving black revolutionaries hell, the MOVE, the MOVE group in Philly,
Philly, yeah.
dropping bombs and everything. Growing up down south, you had the riots, you had the curfews. You know, like they think during the quarantine, that was the first curfew. Now the curfews have always been instituted. You couldn't even be on the streets, man, unless, you know, like you was going to work or you had a reason to be in the streets. You know, because the Black Panthers was out there, the other black revolutionary groups was out there, the National Guards was out there. I'm talking about down south. I know they was out here up north and so forth. Yeah, you read about the Watts riots, you read about Detroit and all these major cities, Jersey. Yeah, you know, once the people bond together, see, but the Most High is going to work when we as a nation and we're in the same mind. Okay, we want the same thing. Yeah, we want the kingdom. We want to be liberated, but unity is the key. That's where the power is at. Unity is the key. Okay? Now, in 1986 was Ronald Reagan's Anti-Drug Abuse Act, 1986. It was the no-knock warrant, which the SWAT can arrive at a location and enter without knocking. And like I mentioned, that military personnel, look like somebody's at the door. That military personnel, they kick this door and he thinking it's an intruder.
Right.
Grabbed his piece, grabbed his weapon, and they shot him 160 times in 1 minute.
Hundreds.
Automatic weapons.
Everybody take a shot.
Okay, now, George Bush, the senior, the National Defense Authorization Act in 1989, it was for the Department of Defense, weapons from the Cold War to be transferred to the police. Okay, there was the National Defense Authorization Act in 1989. And also the 1033 program under Bill Clinton, Law Enforcement Support Office, which was called LESO, L-E-S-O. The 1033 program, you said you heard of that?
Yeah.
The 1033 program continued under LESO, the Law Enforcement Support Office. It expanded into what? Counterterrorism in 1996. Okay? Now, 3 days after 9/11, George Bush Jr. signed the Patriot Act. I know y'all heard of that.
Gun.
Okay, where you can use the wiretaps, email surveillance, delayed warrants, web search surveillance, okay, all in the name of what? Fighting terrorism. You got it?
Gun.
Okay, so, and I was looking at another report in Mexico. I believe it's Acapulco, Mexico, where they sent the military in and they shut down a police headquarters. They shut it down. They shut down the police department. They sent the military in to surround the police department, and they shut it down, and they arrested about 700 police officers.
Wow.
They took their guns, they took their bullets, and they took their vests, and they took their radios, because what? They was corrupt.
Wow.
You need to do the same thing here.
Gun.
Yeah. Bring the military in, not for the people, not on the people, but on the police department.
Right.
Okay, and in Brazil, they send armies in cities to enforce order as well.
Gun.
Okay, so now let's do some scriptures. Let's jump into the scriptures. Let's go to 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter, and let's read the first verse. We're gonna read 1 to 4.
Reading from the book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 1, verse 5.
Come on.
Slack it. 1 Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 1.
Right.
But of these times and
But of the times
and the
seasons.
brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you.
Okay, so the time and the seasons, okay, we got a little understanding about, okay, the time and the season. We can kind of feel where the atmosphere is at now. Okay, we know that we're at the end. Okay, we can feel that. We read about that. Okay, we know that something is going to explode very, very, very soon. Read on.
Verse 2. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Most High so cometh as a thief in the night.
Okay, now it said that the day of the Most High would come as a thief in the night. Okay, we're keeping up. We're a little bit aware of what's going on when you read these scriptures. Okay, we're following the prophecies. We're following the news. We're following everything that's out there. But you got a lot of people that's blinded, and they're going to be overtaken as a thief in the night, because the day of the Lord is different than the Lord's day. It's two different days. The day of the Lord, it said, cometh as a thief in the night. if you're coming after, it is going to come as a thief in the night, it means that it's going to sneak up on you.
Come.
That's the day of the Lord.
Come.
But the Lord's day is like Sabbath and so forth. That's Lord's day. That's God's day.
Come.
Okay, it's not going to sneak up on you. It's there. The Most High wants you to observe and honor Shabbat and honor Him. But the day of the Lord is a little bit different. We're going to read about the day of the Lord. Read on.
Verse 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them.
Okay, now that's the day of the Lord. When they shall say peace and safety, like what's going on now, sooner or later, the people going to think, or politicians going to think, okay, peace is there now. Okay, we had negotiations and so forth, but the Most High said sudden destruction.
Come.
Okay, because the Most High is mingling a certain spirit into all their demonic councils. Okay, that's the Most High. Whatever they get from Satan, the Most High changes that.
Come.
Okay, because the Most High is more powerful. Read on.
As travail upon a woman with child.
Okay, so when, go ahead.
And they shall not escape.
And they shall not escape. Now, when the day of the Lord comes, that means the day of grace has come to a close. And the day of the Lord is getting ready to begin. Now, it's as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So we've been in birth pains for a long time, right?
Right.
All these wars, everybody thinking this the end. World War I, World War II. Okay, when the situation happened over in Afghanistan, 9/11. Okay, this is the end. Okay, all these birth pains. Now the birth pains is intense now. With the virus and so forth,
Right.
with the different decrees that they're pushing out, the different mandates that they're pushing, like forcing you now.
Right.
Okay, so now the birth pains is intense, and sooner or later, the child is going to be delivered,
Come.
and that child is about destruction. That child is about bloodshed, and that child, for out there.
Come.
But we are looking at liberation.
Come.
Being, going through what we go through and being liberated and set up as a nation again. And we're going to read some of that. Okay. Continue.
Verse 4. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief.
See, we're not in darkness. So keep reading, keep praying, keep studying, keep watching the signs, keep watching the news, keep reading about these different nations, keep your mind open to what's going on in this society.
Right.
Okay, read the 17th verse. With all that, this is what you really have to concentrate on. Read the 17th verse.
1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 17. Pray without ceasing.
That's what you got to do. Pray without ceasing. You understand? Let's go to the book of Isaiah 13, chapter 9 to 11.
Isaiah 9.
Isaiah chapter 13, verse 9 to 11.
Okay. Reading from the book of Isaiah, chapter 13,
Verse 9
verse
to 11.
9 to 11. Behold, the day of the Most High cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate.
You hear that? Behold, there you go again, the day of the Lord. The day of the Lord is coming what? Cruel. Both with wrath and fierce anger. It's nothing to be desired, nothing to be played with. The day of the Lord. Read on.
And he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it.
Come on.
For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine.
And it's showing you the destruction and when the Most High bring that type of spirit, that energy, you're reading about what's going to happen. You're reading about the vibration. You're reading about the elements and so forth, how this world is going to be. You think it's bad now. Continue reading.
Verse 11. And I will punish the world for their evil.
Punish who? The world?
The world for their evil.
All the rulers, all empires, all kingdoms, the world. That's everything. Okay? Because the scripture say to bind their nobles with chains and with fetters of iron.
Right.
All this mess that's going on, the leadership. Not these little, you don't want the peons, you want the leadership.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
the thinkers.
Right.
That's what you want because they took our thinkers.
Right.
They left the poor of our people in the fields during the Babylonian captivity. Okay, just left them in the fields. But the thinkers like Daniel, Ezekiel, they took Meshach, Shadrach,
Right.
and Abednego.
Right.
They took. Read on.
And the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease.
Come on.
And will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible.
Of the terrible. Let's go from there. Let's go to Zephaniah, the 1st chapter, the 14th to the 18th verse. The book of Zephaniah, the 1st chapter, the 14th to the 18th verse.
Reading from the book of Zephaniah, chapter 1, verse 14. The great day of the Most High is near.
Right.
It is near and hastens greatly, even the voice of the day of the Most High. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly.
The mighty man shall cry bitterly. Read on.
Verse 15. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness.
Right.
Verse 16, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Most High.
Yeah, they're going to be all in confusion. Read on.
And their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung.
Read on.
Verse 18. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Most High's wrath.
No, you can't pay your way out of this punishment coming. You can't buy your way out. Read on.
But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy.
Okay, come on.
For he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land.
A sudden end. Now go back up to the 15th verse. Read that. The 14th verse. Read that.
Verse 14. The great day of the Most High is near.
It said the great day of the Most High is near. It don't sound like it's a good day, do it? The day of the Lord is not a good day. So we read all the way down to the 18th verse. It tells you what's going to happen. Now let's go to the book of Isaiah, the 2nd chapter. Isaiah, the 2nd chapter, and the 11th and the 12th verse.
Reading from the book of Isaiah, chapter 2, verse 11. The lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down.
In what? The Lord's day.
And,
Read on.
And the Lord and the Most High alone shall be exalted in that day.
The Most High alone shall be what? Exalted.
Exalted in that day.
Everything else is going to have to take a step down in that day because what? The Most High is going to show his power. Remember when it rained so and New York was flooded?
God.
Okay, they had to take a step back. The transportation,
Right.
people leaving their cars and so forth.
Right.
Okay, trucks and the subway system all flooded. They had to take a step back, and that's just from what? That element, rain. Okay, now just imagine what we're reading about the Most High's power.
Right.
Hit this earth. It tells you that men are going to be looking to commit suicide. They're going to be running in caves. They're going to be asking rocks to fall on them. That means suicide. They're going to want to jump off cliffs.
Right.
Okay, when that day comes.
Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
just a little rain shut down this whole transportation, man.
Wow.
People had to take the bus. Bus is crowded. You wait for a bus. okay, took you hours and hours to get home, man. Just from what? One element. Come on.
They showed one of the buses, the bus driver was driving, and all the passengers were standing in the seat because the water was so high
Oh, man.
that it came onto the bus, up to the level of the seats.
Yeah. So this is society you wants to live in, right? Old great America. This is society you wants to live in. Okay.
All right.
So read. Let's go from here. Let's go to Zephaniah, the 3rd chapter. Zephaniah, the 3rd chapter, and the 14th and the 15th verse.
Reading from Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 14. Sing, O daughter of Zion, shout, O Israel, be glad and rejoice with all the heart of the, O daughter of Jerusalem. Verse 15, the Most High hath taken away thy judgment. He hath cast out thine enemy.
Okay, after all that is done, this is what we should be doing. What? It says, sing, O daughter of Zion, shout, O Israel, be glad and rejoice with all the heart, O daughter of Jerusalem. The Lord hath taken away thy judgments, he hath cast out what? Thine enemy. Read on.
The King of Israel, even the Most High, is in the midst of thee.
Come on.
Thou shalt not see evil anymore.
It said, thou shalt not see what? Evil.
Evil anymore.
All this mess we seeing now, witnessing, our people getting just shot and killed. Still slavery, man.
Right.
It's slave mentality.
Done.
Okay, read on.
Verse 16. In that day it shall be said to Jerusalem, fear thou not.
Fear thou not. Okay, so brothers and sisters, I just wanted to go through these reports about the militarization of our communities, because what you see out there now is a little bit different than back in the 80s and so forth. Okay, it's real serious out there now. Okay, they mandate and it's like they're trying to force things now. They instead of implementing, they're forcing it now.
Right.
You know, saying you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't go here, can't be a part of this unless you have this.
Right.
Okay, so but like that last scripture we read, that the Most High is gonna fight for us. And in Zephaniah, I read that 17th verse. It said, "Pray without ceasing always." Okay, so that's where your strength is at. So fear not, because Yahushua, the Most High, will fight. I mean, have those angelic forces out there as well.
Right.
Okay, so that's our hope. Okay, and with that, brothers and sisters, that's the end of the class.